All right, here we are live, and it's been a while. So, I the only reason that I'm going live, and I guess maybe can I turn on some light? Maybe I don't know. Do you really want to see this mug? Ha! Let's put this over here. A little light, just so you can see who I am. No shame, no shame in who I am. I got the gray beards on now, but no, really, the only reason that I'm going live tonight is the fact that I am really trying to convince the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, to back up Texas. We are there is a lot of stuff going on right now. A lot of things that need to be parsed by those people who are in the closest connection to the decision or the problem, as it were. Now, when we're talking about borders, when we're talking about the borders of the United States, yeah, we need to uphold those borders. We need to uphold the borders of the United States. We need to uphold the borders of the states that we are in. The United States only exists because there is a culture that we all allow ourselves to be governed, because in the United States, the individual, we are the sovereign person. The state is behest to us, not the other way around. It never has been since the beginning of the union. We are a democratic republic, not a democracy. The reason that that is important is because in a democracy, a small amount of people can take over the votes and win. In a democratic republic, that can't but that can't happen, because in a republic you have multitude of states, 50 states in our case, and all of them get an individual vote. And what is even more important is that it even goes down into the states, right? Because municipalities within a state, they have importance. Now, some states have tried to regulate this importance for favor of cities, by the way, and some have made it more important, which I believe are better states, because cities are not a good bellwether of what is going on in society. Cities are a very abnormal part of society. They are too full of people to really have like they don't reflect a large amount of people's voices. They are a very concentrated point of view, which goes against the democratic republic that we were founded in. It's the reason that a lot of our founding fathers didn't even want a Washington D.C. was because of the very reasons that we find the corruption in nowadays, right? Is the fact that a federal district can usurp other districts' rights because of the fact that they are the federal, right? They're the top dog, if you will. And but of course they're not. If you understand anything about the Constitution of the United States, is that the federal is the lowest person on the totem pole, not the highest. But of course, they like to look at it the other way around because those people in power don't they love power, which is why we shouldn't even really have people in any political office that want to be there. Wh- Like, why do you want to be in a public office? For any reason other than power or just for power? I mean, if you're there just for power, just tell us. It's much easier to say no. But of course, they're not going to do that. They're going to undermine you. They're going to try to weaponize sympathy and empathy. They're going to say, oh, well, this is the best for you. This is the best for everyone. As if we put these authoritarian rules in place. Now, why? This is the reason that I went live tonight, was perhaps just to put my voice out into the ether. But also, if perhaps it happens, which I doubt it will, but the governor of my state of Pennsylvania will listen to this and would react in a sane way, in that we need to preserve law and order. Otherwise, civil society doesn't exist anymore. If no one, if you look over there at your neighbor and they're breaking the law, if someone gets shot in your neighborhood and no one does anything about it, no one cares. Why would you follow the law? Like this is the ultimate question. The question is, if we allow criminals to dictate the behavior of society, then why wouldn't everyone be criminals? It's a simple question because it's being asked everywhere, especially in democratic cities where there is no law and order. Criminals aren't prosecuted, where you can steal, in some cases in California, you can steal $1,000 worth of stuff and no one even says anything. You're not even allowed to accost them because you would be infringing on the criminal's rights by defending your own property, by defending the store's property. So you're just supposed to allow criminals to do criminal stuff and expect society to still eke its way out into the future? That's that's not even a fantasy. There's no reality where that will pan out. If you allow criminals to get away with criminal behavior, they will continue to do criminal behavior and their neighbors will look at that and be like, "Oh, well, I can do criminal behavior too and get away with it because why the fuck not? No one's stopping me." And that's why I am very pissed that for some reason The governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, at this point in time, this is 2024, January, does not respond to me, will not defend the borders. And meanwhile, I haven't even brought this up to him. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia mayor, the new mayor who is going to unite people, yeah, in her new plan for action, she decides that it's a good idea, a black woman mayor, by the way, to call out white people for systemic racism. Really? Really? So you, a black woman who is in the penultimate apex of power, you're looking down on all the white guys, all the white women, just you never got a leg up even though you're in that high position of power. You're saying that for some reason Philadelphia is suffering because I don't know, white people are putting you down? The mayor of fucking Philadelphia? This is the problem that we have today. It's a psychosis. And the psychosis is that weaponized empathy is being used on everyone. Please stop falling for it. I saw some of my most dearest family members have been destroyed by people taking advantage of them because of how nice they were. Stop. Do not let other people take advantage of you because you are sympathetic or empathetic to blah, blah, blah issue. Just stop. You have to examine every single person who interacts with you from an objective way. What are they trying to do? Now, is that saying that you should not help people? Of course not. No. If you look at them and they actually need help and they are suffering, they actually are a person who needs and will require help, then yes, help them. If they are just trying to take advantage of you and take money from you or take something else, or how about this, the most insidious stuff about the new mayor action, right, is the DEI stuff, right? DEI is racist and sexist. It just is. With unequivocally, it just is. DEI is the worst policy that we've ever seen instituted in a society since Nazism. When they went against Jews, they were like, oh, well, fuck these people because of who they are. DEI is the same thing. It is the same thing. It demonizes people because they're white or male or straight nowadays, which is even more bizarre. It's like, straight people, they have kids and then we as humans move into the future, right? Like, how you gonna demonize people that like populate the earth? That doesn't even make any sense. But here we are in 2024. Quite an interesting year so far. And what are we in? It's the 25th day of January. Oh gosh, this is gonna be a great year. Anyway, that's kind of why I'm recording this because I might as well document what the hell's going on in my mind, let it out on the internet. I'm not afraid. You know, again, I don't think people should be afraid of their opinions. I don't think that that's another reason that I'm putting this out. No one's gonna watch this. Probably. Who cares? No one has watched past videos, and maybe they'll never watch future videos. And it doesn't matter. This is more of just a document of this time. It's like scribbling on the wall of Pompeii before the fucking volcano. I don't know if everything is going to go forward or not. Maybe we will succeed. Maybe we won't. Maybe the world will end. Maybe it won't. But there are a lot of things going on that I don't, and some of them I can't get into just right now because it's a little more complicated. But when we're talking about the sun, to be a little bit, just to let you know what I'm talking about. Just a little nugget of information there. Look into the sun. But as far as our own political discourse here in the United States of America in 2024, in January of 2024, I how can I even describe it other than this is shit. The the level of discourse is non-existent. There's just attacks at everyone. I don't when was the last election campaign where people just talk to each other like normal? You gotta go back, probably back to the 90s. I mean, it's been bizarre ever since 9/11, in my opinion. And, this is coming from somebody who lived through that stuff. But again, I wasn't very old in the 90s, so maybe there was, some sort of animosity that I didn't see, but I I just didn't see it back then. Like when I saw like Bush and Clinton talking about, for example, this is 2024. We know that Trump is going to be the candidate for the Republicans. We know that. And we know that Biden is going to be the candidate for the Democrat. He's the incumbent, right? The president at this point in time. If I would go back to the 90s and say, okay, well, guess what? The incumbent and the front runner for the opposition party, they're not going to even debate. If I was to go back and tell them that, they would call me crazy. I know they would. And yet that's the reality of the situation we're living in today. Does does that make any sense? No, it doesn't. We've regressed. Again, it's like the racism thing. And I don't want to get into this too much, but DEI is straight up racism and sexism. Like, how are you going to fucking solve the past problems by applying new problems? We are going in the wrong direction, is what's happening. Anyway, it's just a small video, and I just wanted to test the stream and put this out there. Mostly asking for freaking Josh Shapiro to stand up with Texas, please. You are my governor, not the one that I elected, but the one that I got. So I know you have it within you. You're an independent. You're not a Democrat. You're not one of these crazy people. I've seen it. I've seen it. Stay off the abortion thing, by the way. It's weak. It's dragging you down. Just saying. But you need to defend Texas because if there's one thing that Pennsylvania can say is that Pennsylvanians in their heart, we defend the Constitution and freedom. That's why we're the Keystone State. You know, I was kind of lamenting this earlier that William Penn was never someone who really he never stood up for his own morals. He was always a follower, which, is fine. But I would like us as the new people of Pennsylvania, like the people who are the caretakers now, to stand up and say, yeah, the Constitution is what we agreed on. That's what we were part of the original 13 colonies, part of the revolution. We do not like tyrants. I mean, if William Penn was anyone, he was someone who hated tyrants. Now, he loved his friends and, maybe didn't step out on the branches too much, but he hated tyrants. Just think about that. When you look at Joe Biden, when you look at all of the power that the federal government has amassed, no. You have to say no. You have to say, this is enough. There is no more. The states' rights are more important than the federal rights. Individual freedoms are more important. Ah! We can't do this. Anyway, good night.